Well, good morning, church. And this morning we're going to be picking up in verse 11 of 1 John chapter 3, where it says, "For this is the message you have heard from the beginning. We should love one another. Unlike Cain, who was of the evil one and murdered his brother. And why did he murder him? Because his deeds were evil and his brothers were righteous." Now, we've talked a lot about loving one another. I want to point back to the same Old Testament story that John does here of Cain and Abel. Now, it's an interesting thing to me that when Adam and Eve are kicked out of the garden, they begin to have kids. And this is the first sin we really see outside of the garden, and it's murder. And what you see is Cain and Abel, these brothers, one who is giving with a faithful heart and giving with the right intentions, and then another brother who looks on him in jealousy, and clearly his heart is not in the right place. And so what this is showing is, and it describes Cain pretty harshly. It says he murdered him because his deeds were evil and his brothers were righteous. At the end of the day, because his heart wasn't in the right place, he looked at his brother in a way he shouldn't have. I say all of that to say, when we begin to have hatred in our heart towards somebody, and I can make that because I can make that connection because Jesus himself said, if you hate your brother, you've already committed murder in your heart. And so if you're just really having a hard time with someone, I'd just ask you to question, well, what is it that's driving you crazy? Is it our priority in the right place? Because what we need to be praying for constantly is that God would allow us to see people in a way that's similar to how he does. Now, we're never going to get that same exact picture that he does, but that's when we truly can have a heart for people. And as followers of Jesus Christ, that's what we're called to do, is have a heart for others, to be sharing the gospel with all people. It's not like you just pick the people that are like you or like-minded to you. We share the gospel to every person, regardless of their background, regardless of the way they talk to you. We need to find ways to love even those who are hostile towards us. And I'm not saying that's easy, but I am saying that's what God's word has called us to. When it says to love one another, that means obviously the church needs to love each other, even though there's a lot of different personalities there too. But when it comes to evangelism, we need to make sure that we're trying to have a heart for all people, even if they're on a completely different viewpoint on a lot of things than we are. And we need to be praying for that. The only way that's going to happen is God opening our eyes to how he views those people so that we might be able to reach them with the gospel as well.